In the heart of Owerri, Nigeria, a story of resilience and creativity unfolds. Meet Franci Njoku, a visionary artist whose journey is nothing short of extraordinary. Born into a supportive family, Francis defied financial constraints to pursue his education, initially studying industrial physics. But destiny had other plans. In a twist of fate, a devastating fire engulfed Francis' world, reducing everything to ashes. Yet, amidst the rubble, a beacon of hope emerged, his beloved sketchbook, the sole survivor of the inferno. From this trial by fire, Francis found his true calling. Fueled by passion and determination, he founded Franci Fire, a fashion brand that symbolized his phoenix-like rebirth from adversity. But Francis' ambitions didn't stop there. He recognized the transformative power of art and established the UCAM Studio initiative to foster creativity and expression in his community. Driven by a desire to preserve African craftsmanship, Francis launched UCraft, an innovative e-commerce platform showcasing the continent's rich artistic heritage. His commitment to promoting local talent and empowering artisans has earned him widespread acclaim and recognition. His story serves as a testament to the indomitable human spirit and the transformative power of art. In the words of an ancient proverb, "Out of a fire, a phoenix is born." Franci Njoku is living proof of this timeless wisdom.
I'm a visual artist. I love to say that. I love to say that a lot. I'm a visual artist. And I found that UCraft Limited, the product ucraftstore.com. We are an e-commerce store that leverages on African crafts. We sell, we promote, we distribute African crafts on a global stage. And we are also trying to promote sustainable living. That is what UCraft does. All right, first of all, I've always been a creative kid. I've always been a very creative kid, though my parents don't know. Every Nigerian parents don't want they want their children to be successful, and creative art is not like a mainstream of success here in Nigeria. So I went into the sciences. I've always been an artist. Started off with fashion illustration, to clothing designing, to murals and art. Just basically what every visual artist does. So UCraft came after we started UCAM, and as a result of UCAM Studio, which started as an incident that happened to me. I encountered a fire incident that pointed me to, you have to really go into your art practices. And I took it off from there. We started UCAM Studio Initiative, where we did a lot of projects like Good for Good, E+ project. We tried to sensitize people on the importance of art. Now, I discovered something that a lot of people who actually love art but can't identify with it directly because of its lack of functionality to them. Okay, and what could bring that functionality? That functionality could only come when you have crafts, right? When you have the simple items that we use around us on a daily basis. So I discovered the challenges of these crafters and people who practice, who are still doing the creative practices of making crafts. And the challenges is getting their works out there, getting their works to people who need them, people who actually are willing to part ways with their money, right? And we started thinking of how do we get to do this. I realized that my grandmother already does this. She's already a crafts dealer. She was already a craft dealer. How do I get to do what she has already been doing, differently? So we thought of UCraft, and UCraft is already 1 year old. By April this year, we're already 1 year old, and so far we have been able to get into the business proper, selling of African crafts, building our e-commerce sites, liaising with creative crafters, collaborating with them, partnering with a lot of creative crafting organizations, companies that buying into what we are trying to do. Just beyond selling of the African craft, but also promoting sustainable living for these crafters and sustainable living within our homes and living spaces. All right, I would first of all say the challenge is not necessarily finance, which is what every business actually needs to scale. We have a challenge with getting the right skill sets, the right set of people, the right resources, human resource, to be able to reach out to more of our crafters to come on board, because we need these crafters to sign up with us. We need these crafters to come on board, and for us to reach the global market, for us to get their crafts to people who will get them and patronize African crafts. We're still in a work in progress. Just 1 year. Ucraft was 1 year on the 16th of April. However, we have about 400 contacts, 400 direct contacts to crafters, a hub of about 400 crafters. We have about 40 craft company and partners, ranging from the textile crafts to the wood crafts to metal crafts, the gemstones, and so on and so forth. We also have a solid structure, created a solid structure that I bet will be able to hold a dedicated team if we get them together. We also we're looking at a very good e-commerce platform that will be competing with a lot of global crafts stores like the Etsy, eBay, and even Amazon. So we are really working and trying as much as possible to get our products out in the market as soon as possible for the entire crafting market to get along with.
Hi everybody, welcome back to the show. My name is Victor, I'm an accountant, and we have Francis here in the studio. Good to meet you, man.
Good to meet you, Victor.
All right, so I would like to know about your business. I understand you're into the craft business. So how's it been? Just give me an overview, like, what's up?
Well, so far so good. It's been a journey, it's been a ride, and we're going to get there. It's something that we learn through the process. At entrepreneurship, while you're going through the process, you're learning while you're growing and at the same time. So, but it's been a ride so far.
Okay, that's good to hear. So let's talk about money. I'm always concerned about money, how you manage your money, how you manage your cash flow, how you manage your working capital. So let's talk a bit about money. What are the challenges? How has it been so far?
Well, every business has a challenge, capital challenges first of all, but I would say Ucraft generally, while we're trying to build our products, which is the e-commerce store, the site where people can actually get, at the comfort of your home, can get across to and shop African crafts. We are currently trying to sell crafts the much we can. Through our partners, we buy drop shipping, we advertise drop shipping using social media and the rest of them. So finance has a little bit been challenging.
A bit of a challenge.
Bit of a challenge, because sometimes you run into some overhead costs and unplanned bills, because we've not really gotten to structure our financial aspects so properly. But so far, I think I've been able to learn and go through the process myself.
Of course, I understand. All right, so we're talking about working capital management and cash flow. So let me give you a brief definition of what that means. So working capital management simply means it's a business process that helps companies to effectively utilize their current assets and also optimize their cash flow. So like I said, it is oriented and centered around, effectively managing and being able to pay your short-term obligations and expenses as a business. And how are you able to do these things? It's basically from money that you have as a company. Okay, so Frank, how has sales been, your revenue? How's it been like?
Anyway, I would say revenue hasn't been low capital, but revenue hasn't been really strong.
As you would like?
I would say we make sales when we make sales, and majorly we are trying to build a product, like I mentioned. We're trying to build the product, which is like the primary thing, and get it out there. But majorly, from a total revenue of about $1 million plus, you have to pay bills, you have to, you lost track of people you're owing, people are owing you, you need to run around, and before you get to know it, you're left with nothing, right? So that's majorly a bottom line of how sales has been generally for us.
All right, so I understand where you're coming from. I mean, it's still a new business. So an advice I can give you is, so I understand it's still a new business. You probably don't have the means and the money to hire a proper accountant yet. So what you can do as a person is, you have to start keeping track of all your expenses, your receipts, your invoice, even if you can't make sense of what to do with these things, yeah? Just, keep it somewhere. I'm saying this because if your business continues to grow and, you get to that point of, on your vision board where you're like, oh, this is where we want to be in 3-5 years, and you're actually getting there and you're getting known, there's going to come a time when, the tax authorities are going to come, yeah? And they are going to tax audit your business to see if you've been compliant with your taxes, and you need to be able to justify certain expenses. You need to be able to say, oh, this that came in is this that came in is that, okay? And then, do your business also open? Do you also have people that are owing your business? Like, you have some money outside that are yet to come into the business. You've made sales, but these people are yet to pay you. Do you have this kind of challenges?
We haven't really encountered recently because the nature of the business, we are like the middle people. Okay. What we do is we basically gain from the commissions that come in, profits that come in between the demand from the market, from the suppliers. We meet to the demand and we get what is left in between. So basically, we don't own any crafts. Crafts. Generally, what we own is the product, the e-commerce store, which is our major product. So, so far we don't have anybody we are owing in quotes per se, but
you have people owing you.
We have
people owing the business.
People owing the business. I don't think
no, you don't have. Okay. I asked this because this is very important because. Because of the nature of your business, it will be hard for people to actually hold you. So the idea is, someone comes, sells through your store, and then you get your commission for it. So it's pretty much hard for people to hold you. I brought that up because there are measures in place you can use to deter or discourage people from owning the business. But since this is not a challenge for you, we can just move away from that. Apart from sales, as a business at the moment, have you considered getting some sort of loan or some sort of investment to push your business to the point where it grows and it becomes more sustainable? Has that been an option for you?
Yeah, we considered that earlier, and when we tried to go through business development strategies and analysis, we discovered that I think it's not the best time to jump into collecting loan, that if we can actually bootstrap on ourselves, to get ourselves to a certain level of the foundation stage, which we are in now, get the product into the market, get people subscribed into the product, as much crafters as possible, get our data beefed up, we can now launch into getting investors. That is exactly what we'll be looking at from the next stage of our growth, where we'll be getting investors to see what we are doing so far and get to invest in the business, because the business is not only it goes beyond just making money.
Of course,
it's about making impact as well. So we're not just looking at the investors now. We are still open to having investments, stakes into the company, but at the same time, we're really careful about that for now.
All right, so I understand where you're coming from. So if in the future the idea is to have investors come into the business, one of the things they're going to look at are your numbers, and you can't have numbers without keeping proper records. So to the best of your ability, even if you can't hire an accountant for now, as a business, you need to start keeping proper records, because what they are going to do is they need to look at your top line. Your top line is the revenue, your sales, and they're going to look at your bottom line. Your bottom line is the profit and the loss the business has made or incurred, throughout, the period, throughout the year. So these are figures they're going to look at, and they're not just going to look at it, they're going to see that, have you been doing business diligently? They're going to see, are there places where you could be exposed in the future? Do you have tax obligations that you've not paid? These are things you really need to look at, from as the owner, as an entrepreneur, because I promise you, government is always trying to, get their own money, and it is very important that, your tax liabilities, your tax obligations, that you're paying them on a regular basis, because failure to probably file some things or failure to probably even remit some taxes, it comes with interest and penalties. And your investors, your potential investors in the future, they're going to look at all of these things. And when they're doing their due diligence, it might impact on them investing in your business or not. I don't know if you get what I'm trying to say. All right, so I have another question. Can you give me an overview of what your expenses are like? Okay, what you usually incur on expenses, maybe like on a line by line item. So expenses in a business could be office supplies. It could be, for a business like this, it could be lighting, it could be electricity, it could be maybe purchase of a diesel, it could be, it could be a lot of things. So for your business, what are your expenses like, and how do you go about, spending and,
when we started last year, we had a major expense, which was storage.
Okay.
For storage.
So you had to pay for storage?
I paid for storage.
Okay.
Logistics.
Okay.
Like how to move, from point A to point B.
Point B.
Yeah. Then, which every business actually does. Data management, subscribing to the internet, cell phones, and all that. So these calls, you have to make calls, you have to subscribe to the internet on a regular basis to push the market and all that. So these are like the major expenses we look at. So, but moving down to Lagos, I moved down to Lagos December. Okay. So I moved down to Lagos here.
December last year, correct?
Yeah, I got a space where I'm using, in case I get inventories, I just get to put them there, wait till I move them out. The only challenge concerning this has just been logistics, which is for now, which is what we're trying to look into ways to sort out and also.
Okay, so let's talk a bit about the logistics. So when you say challenge, is it like challenge in paying these people that moves these things for you, or challenge? Can you explain better, please?
Now, logistics including packaging, handling, and the rest of them. We've not really done a good work on our packaging. We're trying to. Those are like part of the things we are going to look into at this stage before we get it proper into the market. Packaging really to safeguard the products that are given. Another thing that pretty good challenge is keeping a stable logistics price. For example, Mr. A calls from away that he wants a rattan basket or a laundry basket, raffia laundry basket, and we get it for 25,000 naira in the market, and we send it to him, you know, and you get to realize that if we don't have a proper logistics management, sometimes it costs as much as 10 to 15 to 20,000 naira to get it to him.
Almost the price
of getting the product. But if there's a proper logistics management, we will cut down to the price of subscription, and you see that the logistics handles it better alongside the packaging and other things that we're looking at. So it's all things in process, like I told you, and there are things we're really looking at and considering to get help and get management from.
All right, so let me just give you a little bit of advice, you know, regarding some of these expenses. So number one of the things you need to do is drive your business to a point where you are making constant revenue. Okay, when you're making constant revenue and you're doing constant businesses, you know, there is more inflow of cash, obviously. So how that helps is it can then give you leverage to be able to negotiate with people, like your logistics people, like the people that have to do your packaging for you. So one of the things you need to look into is to defer some of your payments. Okay, so I'm going to pay you 10,000 naira this month, but you know what, there's something else 10,000 naira can do for me, and I'm doing so much business with you. Can you allow me just pay you in the next maybe 2 months or something? You know, these are things you really need to start looking at. Like, fine, you are. So let me give you an example. There was a point in my former company, we discovered that there was a business that we hold a certain amount for internet. We just discovered, between so period, we didn't pay for internet, and they made us. So we did our checks and we realized that we hold these people truly, and we had the money to be able to pay them like outrightly. But what we did was, you know what, we negotiated with them. Can we pay you over the next 4-5 months?
In fractions?
Yes, instrumentally. We had the money, but we were like, can we pay you instrumentally? And we were like, okay, fine, we're fine with it. And it was like, okay, good. So what did we do? We broke it down, sent them an email, they agreed to it, and then we started paying instrumentally. Like I said, we could have paid outrightly, but then again, the money, we started using it for something else.
Probably something that will help you generate more money.
More money to the business, do you understand? So these are things you need to start looking at. These are things you need to start looking at, you know, in the future for your business, okay?
There's an approach we are trying to bank into, or I'm trying to use on getting the products ready.
Okay.
Similar approach to what you just said. I'll be asking as a question if that is okay as well. Getting the programmers, we don't have a team doing these things, so sometimes we outsource this stuff to some other people, and it could be very expensive. So getting them in terms, while we are selling, you could use codes to get your payments for yourself. I don't know whether it works well for an e-commerce, but this is just a question, so you could advise better on this.
All right. So I understand what you're trying to say, and I also like to add something else. As a business person, you shouldn't be limited to just one supplier or just one person that does things for you. You should have like an array of options. So you probably are paying for water for the business. Someone that supplies you water, you should have different options, such that at the end of the day, you're able to bargain. No, not just run out of water. You're able to bargain for a better price. So Mr. A could charge you 50 naira. At the end of the day, if you discover that if you go outside more, you could get someone else to give you at 45 naira for the same water. So these are things you need to start looking at too, so as you can save as much money as possible, and then you can use this money saved to do other things. Francis, I'm so glad we had this conversation, and I'll be looking forward to how these recommendations will help your business in the future.
Yes,
nice to meet you once again.
You too. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.